Hello everybody, today we're going to be recording with some Legacy Miracles. So here's the list, what it looked like last night when I played it in a league. And it went okay. There's a few changes I want to test out since then. I was playing with two Monastery Mentors, which is a relatively popular way to do things. When I play in paper, I play with Rest in Peace and Helm of Obedience main deck, because I play against a lot of graveyard decks, land types decks, where that type of card is quite good. So I like that. I figured online the meta is going to be a little bit different. I might try Mentor just because that's what's popular. I didn't necessarily love it. I'd like to play a little bit more to get a good feel. But anyways, those Mentors are coming out because we're going to replace it with a different card, Entreat the Angels, which I like because it only takes up one card slot, and it kind of does what Mentor does. You know, like Mentor, to really win with it, you need to play it and have a lot of mana to back it up with different spells. So Entreat, you need to play it and dump mana into it. And it's just like you're kind of all or nothing with Entreat, whereas Mentor you can kind of play it and just get a little bit of value. But I think you're still kind of all or nothing in general, because if you just get a little bit of value, it's probably not going to win you the game. So I want to try it like this, use one less card on win condition, that way I have more room for spells. So the things I'm trying to make room for is I'm going to try taking out these predicts, since, in paper I play with Rest in Peace main board, so predict is better than what I am putting in, which is accumulated knowledge. So I'd like to try this out. This is a very popular way to play, and I think this card is awesome. I'm a big fan of it. So we'll do that, and then the Spell Pierce is coming out to make room for that. So here's what the main deck looks like. It's going to make some changes to the sideboard too. Perforary Nodes is probably going to be coming out. You see what it does here. At the beginning of my upkeep, destroys the creature with the least power, can't be regenerated. If two are tied, I choose one, and then when there are no creatures left, it goes away. So it's a pretty slow Wrath, but it's only 1 mana. I just think I have a lot of ways to kill creatures as it is, and with this being so slow, it's just kind of too slow. So get rid of that, and then where's my list here? So the things I changed, I want to dispose of that to get one more Canonist, one more Spyglass, and a Gideon. And I disposed of a couple other things. So I think I got rid of the Helm, since I'm not really going that route anymore. One more Spyglass, which I might have forgotten to buy. I did. I can get that from a bot. Gideon is coming in for Control Mirrors, where they have Pyroblast and I don't. And then the other card was another Canonist. So Canonist is coming in over here. The Enlightened Tutor was coming out because I was kind of going down some of those enchantments. It is nice that I can find Canonist, but I'm just playing the second Canonist for redundancy that way instead of finding it with Enlightened Tutor. So I'm kind of going down the spice in favor of something more normal. Let me buy a Sorcerer's Spyglass. I should have some bot credit with... where are they? Card Broker Seller. New binder's fine. Well, if people aren't that familiar with buying cards in Magic Online, they'll get kind of an idea here. I don't know if I spelled that right. Spyglass. Hopefully this seller has a Spyglass. And of course they don't. They have all sorts of Ixalan cards, and none of them are a Spyglass. Alright, we're going over to Card Hoarder then. I could do this through a website instead of in the client, but that would take more time. So, Card Hoarder, Human, Bot. Let's see what this one's got. Hopefully it doesn't cost more than like 0.7 tickets, which I don't see why it would. Spyglass, there we go. And it's 33 cents, perfect. Pick that up there, and then pop it in the deck, and then we're good to play. Bam, into the sideboard. Alright, this deck is looking good. That's everything I wanted to test out this time around. And we'll get into the play lobby here. Constructed Leagues, Competitive Legacy League. And we'll join up. Alright, stand still with play points. And let's play a match. So, in the meantime, I guess I'll get some music on. I'm just going to make it so only I can hear this. That way, you guys can play whatever music you want. Won't be competing with me. well, I guess we're waiting for the match here. Oh, there it is. Alright, I need to show my card preview window. Can't forget about that. I think I have it hidden right now. Come on, opponent. Let's get in. Alright, view preview window. Is that on here? It's not. And this hand's also horrible, so we won't mulliganing that. Settings. Display settings. There it is. Card preview window. Jump back over here. Still waiting on the opponent anyways. Here's accumulated knowledge, a card I mentioned earlier and didn't really get to describe. You can give that a read before I ship it away. Alright, so this time our one land can at least cast the cantrips, which is good. And we do have a force in case we're playing against an unfair deck. And then a back to basic, which could potentially win the game. I think I have to keep this. I get a scry here to find a second land. And I get to ponder to try and find my lands as well. Okay, that's good. The wasteland won't do much against us because we are playing. Oh, alright, they're going to try and... so do I care about the monolith, or do I care about what they're casting with the monolith? The cards I pitch are going to be either Counterspell or Jace. So, Back to Basics is obviously very good against this deck. And giving them access to monolith is kind of something that plays against Back to Basics. I think it's fine, though. That's like famous last words, but I can always force the thing they cast off monolith unless they have a way to make it uncounterable. Anyways, let's cast our Ponder. So none of those are lands. We'll shuffle. And draw another Ponder. So they did have a cavern to make their thing uncounterable, which is bad for us because they can just cast a Reality Smasher. They went to post-combat though, so it's more likely to be something like a Thought-Knot Seer. And it is a Thought-Knot Seer. It can't be countered, so there's nothing I can do. I just need to let them look at my hand and see that it's very bad. They're probably going to take the Back to Basics since that kind of beats them if they find it, or they might just take a Ponder, try to stop me from finding stuff. Either way, it seems unlikely that we'll win this game. Now, they don't get to untap the monolith, yeah, which is nice. So that is good for us. They can't play another big Eldrazi next turn. They did take the Back to Basics. Back to Basics over there in exile. So Teferi is definitely not what we were looking for. Cool, so I can put a Flooded Strand on top. So we'll put Misty Rainforest, Terminus, Flooded Strand will be the stack with no shuffle. And we'll leave this Flooded Strand uncracked. That way, on our turn, we can draw the Terminus, in response fetch out a basic Plains to cast the Terminus with. And that way they can't wasteland what we need to cast our spell. We can still cast our Terminus through this, which is great. So we'll be able to kill this Thought-Knot Seer. Terminus basically acting as a slow Swords to Plowshares here. It does mean I have to shuffle away that Misty Rainforest, which is kind of unfortunate, and the Thorn means I can't ponder into a land that same turn, so it's going to force me to miss this land drop. But I think it's worth it, because otherwise we'll just die to this Thought-Knot Seer. So we'll take the Plains. We're just not doing very much this game, and we don't have any other removal, so kind of got to get this thing out of the way while we can. Accumulated Knowledge isn't bad. It represents the ability to turn into a fresh card. So I'll jump through my turn. I can minimize this window. Another Cavern. I do have 2 Field Ruins in the deck, so those theoretically could take out the Caverns, but with the Wasteland and everything, and just how slow that's going to be. Oh, they named Ape, so I don't need to worry about taking it. They're definitely not putting me on Field of Ruin because it's not a very popular card. So now if I just, take out this first one, they are left with no Caverns on Eldrazi, which is very nice. The Ape is probably because it just allows them to cast their Simian Spirit Guides, which they otherwise would have no red mana to cast. So I do have a Tundra, which can hit a land drop and force them to spend the Wasteland. Things like I have so many other lands in the deck, and Force of Will is terrible right now, Brainstorm is also terrible right now, that I just think I don't want any of them. And I don't hit a land at all. just with so few non-basics, why play into the Wasteland when I just don't want any of the other cards anyways? It doesn't let me, not a card that lets me shuffle them away like a fetch land would be. So probably another Thought-Knot Seer coming down, which is fine. There's just nothing in our hand we really care about getting taken. I guess the Ponder's kind of important, and it's definitely what they're going to take. But we're not really casting these spells anytime soon. Maybe a Miracle Terminus would be nice, but that wouldn't be a land, so it doesn't mean much. Cool, Flooded Strand. That means we can either cast the counterspell, which probably won't be relevant with a Cavern here, or just cast the Accumulated Knowledge end of turn. We can't just cast the Council's Judgment here because of the Thorn of Amethyst, making our non-creature spells cast 1 more mana. So, crashing in for 4, going to put us down to 11. This fetch will put us down to 10 when we decide to crack it, which it does decrease the amount of lands in our deck by 1. But I think we just want to spend our mana on this Accumulated Knowledge while we can, and we definitely do now, because the thing we're trying to draw is a land, and that can't get taken by this Thought-Knot Seer. Going to get a Plains, even though it takes me off double blue. Double white is better for the Council's Judgment, and there are 4 fetches in the deck that can't find white, so it's much more common that I'll find a fetch that can hit blue than one that will find white. Alright, they get to take either my swords or my Council's Judgment. They'll probably take the swords, because I can for sure cast it versus I have to draw the land to cast the Council's Judgment. And there goes Swords to Plowshares. Let's pop out our graveyards. Brainstorm's going to take most of our turn, so we really have to brainstorm into land swords. Which is why I'm going to leave the Plains untapped. Okay, land Terminus. Definitely want to put the Terminus on top. And then Force is pretty bad because things are uncounterable, so put that underneath. I'll play the land. And take our beats down to 2. Hope there's no Reality Smasher to kill us. Or Walking Ballista will kill us as well. And Endbringer would be bad news, but we do have the Terminus on top. And we don't have to fetch with this land to cast Terminus. So being able to fetch with this land would be very nice, though, because it would mean we can shuffle away that Force of Will, which we just don't want. So a Ballista isn't going to kill us. So what does this mean? It could mean an Endbringer is in hand, and that'll be able to kill us at some point. So they want to do this because they know we have an important card on top, and they can wasteland our land because we don't want to fetch away the Terminus. Good play on their part. We obviously just need the Terminus on top, so we can't afford to fetch with the Polluted Delta. So it is a land they effectively get to wasteland away. Bang. I'm not going to draw any other cards this turn, so it really doesn't matter what I tap to cast this. I'll just tap the double white. I'm not even bluffing anything besides the ability to cast my Force underneath this Thorn. We get to draw 2, which is nice. We do know one of them's a Force, though, since we couldn't fetch it away. I know people are going to be asking at this point, like, oh, how many lands are you running in this deck? This is 21 lands, which is 1 less than what I used to be doing in paper. But a lot of popular 5.0 decks right now are playing 19 or 20 lands, so this is a little bit more than what's usual. So we just happen to be getting a little unlucky here, which it happens. We do have a land, which means we can Judgment this Matter Reshaper. We can't snap Swords because our Swords was put into exile by the Thought-Knot Seer. So it looks like Judgment is our only answer because that thing's going to kill us otherwise. No trigger because it got exiled and did not die. That super heads-up play from our opponent to wasteland our Polluted Delta is a really big deal because it means we can't play Jace. Now we really can't play Jace. I guess we could force this. It means we won't have a Force We won't be able to force anything else this game, which means a Walking Ballista will kill us when we otherwise could force a Walking Ballista. But being able to land Jace is like our only real out back into the game, and then be able to land Teferi after that. So I do think forcing this is important. Oh, I can't do that. Alright, I forgot we tapped out to play the Council's Judgment. So Swords is nice. It keeps us protected from a Matter Reshaper. I'm not sorry, Matter Reshaper, an Reality Smasher is what we're being protected from. A Back to Basics here would be incredible, but one of our Back to Basics is in exile already. No! And we wouldn't be able to cast it anyways because there's 2 Thorns. Alright, this looks like an Endbringer, which we can Swords to Plowshares. Or an Endless one, which we can also Swords to Plowshares. Ooh, Oblivion Sower. Alright, they're going to get to steal some lands from us. And considering how few lands we've drawn, they're probably going to get 4. Well, 3. It was pretty close. I'll put up the preview window here so you can take a look at Oblivion Sower. I'm going to Swords it now, because we do know it's going to kill us, and we can't really let it live. We want to use the mana this turn, not on our turn. That way if we draw something, we can play it, like this Brainstorm. So we do have Snapcaster, which isn't going to save us from a Reality Smasher, and we won't have enough mana to snap Swords because of the 2 Thorns. So I think Brainstorm is really our only realistic option here. I'm going to leave white up in case we draw nothing really. And we'll stack double Terminus on top. That seems very nice. And play a Tundra. They don't have a Wasteland now. They might have a Wasteland, you know, coming up to kill our land. And perhaps we should have sandbagged it so we could play a basic first, then play the Tundra the turn we play Jace. But considering we're only on 1 card, I think just making the land drops is fine. It's a little sketchy because I did put 2 Terminus on top, so maybe I should just save that to protect it from a Wasteland. It was probably incorrect to play it there. So this could be an Endless one. Endbringer. So it's going to deal 1 damage to us. Now it'll have Summoning Sickness, so it can't do anything to us, and we do have the Terminus on top. So that is good. We're staying alive. But we're not making much progress. And the downside of not having Repel main deck like I do in Paper is that I can't just flip a switch and win the game. You know, like, Entreat the Angels is kind of like that, but with the taxing pieces here not having much mana, not necessarily. Matter Reshaper. Alright, so we have to Terminus that as well, because we're just at 2 life, so anything kills us. Now, they didn't tap a Cavern of Souls to play it, so I guess maybe I should have countered it, just because I'm not really going to get to use these counters otherwise, but the Terminus is on top, and I currently don't have a way to put it back on top. I guess I just have to hope they don't tap their Cavern for the next one. That way I can force that one since I no longer have Termini available to me. Okay. So there it is, the Entreat, and we're only going to get to make 1 Angel, but, you know, that's better than what we were doing, which was absolutely nothing. They can dismember our Angel, though, before it kills them, which is not necessarily good news for us. So let's let the trigger resolve, and then we'll cast it. 4 mana and X, so X is going to be equal to 1. We could have not cast it and try to set it back up with Jace later, but, you know, we also kind of need the blocker too. And setting up with Jace is kind of far away because we still have to draw another land. So there's the Ballista that's going to kill us, so we do have to force that. And then pitch the other. Oh, we can't. Alright, yeah, we can't. So we are dead. Might as well wait and let them do it. Alright, so sideboarding, anything that kills a creature. Just not necessarily a lot of things. The spyglasses take out the mana rock. I don't know if we're that concerned about that. Stony Silence also takes out the mana rock. We didn't see tons of that kind of stuff though. Everything else not great. Gideon's like fine if there's cards that are really bad. Forces aren't that exciting. They get turned off very easily. But they give us a way to stop some like turn 1 Chalice type effects. So we might want a couple. We just don't have that much better. Like our better things are here. I don't love them. Then just Gideon is another win condition. Produces blockers too, which is nice, but it is something that comes late in the game. Counterbalance, probably just bad, because their stuff's so all over the place in terms of mana. I guess Gideon is maybe better than that. Let's try it like this. We were just set up very good naturally, our main deck. We have a lot of ways to kill creatures, like Swords to Plowshares. So I'll play a Flooded Strand, which leaves me with the ability to fetch out a basic Plains. Probably not going to happen, but... So this hand's not great, honestly. We have Counterspell and Swords and stuff to do later on in the game. So could this be a Chalice? This is the Manolith. And that's fine. It's fine in the sense that we literally have no way to stop it. So ideally this Flooded Strand fetches out a basic Plains. But if I have to cast Counterspell, then it can't do that. And I might have to cast Counterspell. It's interesting. We have Planeswalkers. I think it's fine. If they play a Cavern, same as last game, it's very bad for us that we let that resolve. And we haven't drawn land, so that kind of makes letting the Thorn resolve look that much more embarrassing. But I would have had to fetch out a Tundra there, which I don't love. I guess I could have just fetched out a basic island. They do have the Cavern, so super punished. Yeah, it was a big mistake not to counter the Thorn. Might lose us the game. Endbringer. Alright, that's fine. We can deal with that. We do have the swords. I'll just fetch this out because we do know no matter what we're getting an island with that land. Could I wait until end of turn to do this? Yes, but I'm impatient. So we can't play anything this turn on account of the Thorn, stopping us from being able to play Gideon. I don't know if we necessarily want to play Gideon anyways, because we do want to hold swords up. That said, next turn if we draw land, we might just slam our Gideon and pray. Karn. So he is counterable, which is very nice, because now we get to counter him. Never mind, not countering the Thorn was genius. I'm very glad we did that. Alright. So we didn't draw the land, we can't slam the Gideon. So we just pass. Be patient, hold up Swords to Plowshares and accumulated knowledge. Let's pop out the graveyards. Another Karn, huh? Well, unfortunately I don't have the second counter spell, so we can maybe draw a Force here and pitch one of our very good cards to take out this Karn. Or we could play our Gideon and then kill the Karn. Or we could draw Council's Judgment and kill the Karn too. I guess everything. Any way you look at it, we're killing Karn. So, you know, I guess I gotta fetch first, huh? Snipe Karn. I think I clicked on Karn before it even asked me to vote. I was just that excited. Unfortunately, there's a Thorn out, so we can't also hold up swords. And then next turn we can't really play Gideon and hold up swords either. So we might just have to verdict whatever gets played here and then play either Gideon or Teferi into an empty board, which would be fabulous if that's how it works. Alright, there goes City of Traders. Another Endbringer. Endless one, Walking Ballista? Walking Ballista, alright. So I think we will verdict here. That way we can slam one of our Planeswalkers down on an empty board. Note that we can tap this for mana, which is sweet. You can also tap these for black. So we could slam Gideon and nothing else. Slam Teferi and nothing else. Either of those just get pinged away by the Ballista anyways. We could sword something. And maybe hope they commit more to the board. But I'm just going to verdict. Yeah, it's probably the impatient thing to do. And we have been doing the impatient thing, so that's definitely not a good defense for why this is the right play. But, you know. I'm spooked by that Walking Ballista. Maybe holding up swords was like fine if they play a haste creature. Yeah, that sucks. But we could slam Teferi, then untap some lands, and then be able to hold up swords, which is pretty cool. White, white, blue, blue, black, black. And then draw a card. Untap some things. They've got something here? Oh, alright, just untapping their Manalith. I could untap the fetches, but black mana seems less useful than anything else. And I don't feel like fetching right now. Life points might become relevant in this game. I do have a useless card to discard to the Swords of Plowshares if Reality Smasher comes down. Endless one. Ah, Oblivion Sower again. Alright, let's see what they hit. One land. Some good spells, but we're in a pretty good spot with our Planeswalkers. And we can Swords this guy. Pow. Pow. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I want to see a card deeper, so I'm going to draw first. Brainstorm. We're probably going to want to do some fetching here. Jace, that's pretty sweet. Let's put these Brainstorms back. 2-mana Brainstorm is not super exciting. So we could play Jace or Gideon. Gideon kind of has more immediate value because he is affected by Summoning Sickness, so like getting him down on the field earlier is kind of relevant. Yeah, sure, let's... Oh, dang it, I can't tap for black. I do need the double white. Alright. Procure a blocker. Pow. Oh, I get to untap lands. Yeah, sure, those are fine. Alright, big creature. Big Ballista would be kind of bad, but it says it's an Eldrazi, so... Alright, that's fine. Jace can bounce that. Let's ponder first. Maybe we'll find something cool. Yeah, those are a lot of things that are very cool. Alright, put on top. Put on top. Put on top. Don't shuffle. Maybe like kill you. And play this land and play Jace. And there's an Urborg out, so I don't even have to shuffle away my Entreat. That's pretty sweet. Pow, pow. Okay, pow, pow. And then Fate Seal you. Ratchet Bomb, huh? Should not land permanent. I'm gonna put that on the bottom because that does get rid of all our tokens. Which, I mean, we're probably gonna win with the Planeswalkers, but just in case something catastrophic happens, we don't want them to be able to kill all our angles. There's not that many scarier things they can draw either. Like, a Reality Smasher is really good. A Walking Ballista is really good. But they're not, like, better than what we're doing, which is, like, super good. We're just, like, you know, winning the game. That's really good. X is currently 2. Let's... yeah, X is 4 is fine. Alright. Did I forget to activate Gideon last turn? You win some, you lose some. Alright. Accumulated knowledge. Put Wasteland, don't put Wasteland on the bottom. Yeah, I'd kind of just... don't forget to activate Gideon this turn, you dummy. Alright, we'll create a Knight. And Teferi's gonna let me untap land, so maybe I should have, you know, tapped a little bit more with Entreat. But whatever. This Teferi's gonna ultimate pretty soon, and you know, you just can't really lose. Let's draw before combat. I don't know, Fate Seal on you, I guess. What's in my hand doesn't really matter. What's in their hand matters just like at least a little bit. There's some argument, I guess, to just getting so I kill them faster, but like they're just drawing a land next turn and I'm like winning. So I'm just gonna try and breeze through this and save time. Yeah. Untap up to 2 lands. Let's untap no lands. Alright, cool, they conceded. So we saw Ratchet Bomb, which takes out the Angels. Some argument for keeping Spyglass. We're going to be on the draw, so Force is like a little bit better. They can do more things that we care about. They did see the Humility. They did see the Gideon, so they might bring in answers for them. I still think Counterbalance is like maybe even worse now than it was before. Maybe there's some argument to bring a Force in over the Spyglass. But, you know, let's try it. We've got a Sweeper, we've got a Cantrip, we've got a Spot Removal spell, we've got a Win Condition. Looks good to me. Does it get better? Yeah. Swords to Plowshares, yeah, it's probably better. Maybe a counterspell of some kind is like okay, but not great. Because they'll probably just have Cavern. That's not a very good thing to draw right now. Alright, well, at least it's in our hand to put back later. I don't like these cards. We can like set up a Terminus, but we don't have blue mana anyway, so we'd have to put it a turn away, so we'd have to put it at the bottom of our stack, and we'd have to draw these other cards, which we are only on 3 lands right now, so drawing the land maybe is relevant. We don't have anything to Snapcaster back though, and I think we can just do better. So let's shuffle. And we did draw land, one that, you know, kind of dies to wasteland, but we can fetch out a basic plains here and then just start killing their utility lands. That's not really what we were looking for. Also, you know, whatever, we can brainstorm it back later. Monolith. Alright. Pretend like we're really thinking about a counterspell when we just don't have one. So I don't think I want to show the Field of Ruin quite yet, because still the only thing they have out is City of Traders, and they'll be like, if they say have a wasteland something else, which they probably don't because they missed a land drop, but they would lead on a wasteland when they otherwise wouldn't lead on a wasteland, since they could play a wasteland and then we'd really have nothing to effectively Field of Ruin at that point. So I'm just going to play this and keep moving here. I don't want to time out. Another Thorn. Yeah, that's going to make things a little tough. And they know we have Miracles in our hand because of the draw step stops, which, you know, weren't necessarily intentional. I do have to play a Field of Ruin because I can't afford to just miss a land drop. So they can't just play another Thorn here unless they tap their Monolith. They are tapping the Monolith. That said, yeah, I would have been very surprised if it was another Thorn. So we could like take a land out of our deck here. Probably get a basic plains. And then accumulated knowledge, I guess. And then draw another land. Alright, so they hit our Teferi, 2 lands, and a Brainstorm. So the 2 lands are definitely going to be good for them when there's 2 Thorns down. And there's still really nothing we can do with these Field of Ruins, so I'm just going to play the Flooded Strand. Can't quite play that yet, so that does leave it vulnerable to being Thought Not Saw, but yeah, we're okay with that. Island. Kind of kill your 5/8, please. There may be some argument to voting for a Thorn there. That way we can just play Humility and not be concerned about the thing. And that's probably the correct play. But, you know, that's just how it goes sometimes. You do things wrong. We could also get them to overcommit to the board and then Humility as well, because we do have the land here, which is great. You know, like we can just turn this Endbringer into a 1/1. So, is that what we want to do? It costs 6, so I think second Field of Ruin is fine. They can only have 1 wasteland anyways. Yeah, that's what we want, yeah. Alright, in Humility we trust. Now this Gideon can make a bunch of 1/1s, which are better than their 1/1s, because I have more of them. Alright, that does stop Gideon from making 1/1s. We can Verdict their 1/1s at some point, though, so that's kind of cool. If they're playing Mishra's Factory, like some of these colorless decks do, that gets around Humility. So that would be a way to really up their clock on us. But Other than that, there's not that much they can do. Right, Ancient Tomb. So we could play a 3-mana Ponder. I think we want to play a 3-mana Ponder. We've kind of got all the time in the world. Tap one of these. Do we want more lands? Kind of. Oh, sorry. Kind of yes, kind of no. The Snapcaster's bad because this does get hit by Humility, so it won't actually do anything. I could take like one land, then shuffle one away. But we do just want to find spells at some point as well. Let's just go any order shuffle. And we found a land anyways. Okay. And let's keep passing. Really don't want a timeout. I probably just took too long on that Ponder. Okay, so a Ratchet Bomb that can eventually pressure and kill our Humility. So we've got to get something down before that happens. Like we could entreat, but I'd rather save the entreat. As they have the 1 charge counter on the Ratchet Bomb now, which means with converted mana cost, so it has to be exactly equal, so they can no longer are in range of killing our tokens, which is nice. Another Spyglass. This one's probably going to get named Jace, and they already have exiled our Teferi, so that's very bad. We do just have to find a Brainstorm and kind of entreat here. Yep, they chose Jace. Let's pop out our graveyard. And yeah, you can see our Teferi's kind of hanging out in exile. So let's keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. I'll save these Field of Ruins for better lands like Eye of Ugin or whatever. Alright, so we can flash in a 1-1 to block their 1-1. But that doesn't seem like it's going to be very productive. So, let's keep passing. Playing quick is the #1 priority here. Yep, we'll Ponder. Back to basics seems great. Swords to Plowshares seems great. You know, Terminus is fine. So we're going to have to tap some non-basics to do this. There's no reason to run it out right now, besides Thought-Knot Seer though, so maybe we do. Yeah, they don't have that many non-basics right now anyway, so it's not that high priority. Yep, untap your Manolith, that's fine. We really want to save this Snapcaster for after they kill our Humility. We could like flash it in and trade, but we want to be able to flash back a Judgment. I'm just going to nug this now. Which maybe is incorrect, but whatever, we just want to keep moving. Like maybe Verdict there is fine because instant speed removal is just more important than trying to get a 2-for-1, but they might also just have been sandbagging 2 creatures in hand to play after they kill the Humility, so we might be able to get a 2-for-1 off the Supreme Verdict still. I guess we also had a Terminus, which we could hard cast, and that might have been the play, and then save the, save this. So that's choosing Eldrazi, so we're definitely going to Field of Ruin that as soon as we get a chance. We're very in danger of running out of time. So let's see what they put down for us. Ideally, not a Reality Smasher. Another Oblivion Sower, another Endbringer. Another Oblivion Sower. That's fine. Another Terminus, Counterspell, Brainstorm Island, so they'll get to play the island. Bam, that's fine. Yep. We drew the Jace. Let's Verdict. Oh, should I overtapped? It should untap that for me. And that it does. Alright. So, now we just really want them to blow up the Humility. Note that the Oblivion Source still got to do a thing because it's a cast trigger, not an ETB. So they might be able to Thought Not Seer away our Entreat here, which is really bad. Then we're just really on the win with Jace plan because we'll have to Snapcaster back Council's Judgment. No, they are cracking that. They probably realized that Thought Not Seer is an ETB, so it would have gotten turned off by the thing. So that resolving is fine. If they take Jace, we get to play Entreat. If they take Entreat, we get to Snapcaster, take out the thing on Jace, and then play Jace. Our opponent's just in the tank looking at our hand. Definitely is a tough choice. They take the Snapcaster, so they are not particularly worried about the Entreat. That, or they have a second Thought Not Seer, which we can feel to ruin their Cavern and then counter. Or it's back to basics. This is rough. Alright, so... Man, this is really rough. I'm just going to field the Cavern. Maybe not correct, but I just want to play fast. Take a Plains, I guess. And just kind of go. I don't know how much this tournament's cost. 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, so we don't play that. Back to basics. Do we play it? No. I don't care. They have a lot of basics. Next turn we can Terminus if we need to. Maybe we can't. Oh, Thorn. How much does this cost? 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can just force this. Oh man, this thing really slows down our tapping. Card. Another Judgment. That's sweet, so now we don't even have to care about Snapcastering it. I'm just gonna F6. I know they'll have something that I'm not bluffing Force for anymore, but time is more important than bluffing. So what they hit? Force, Snapcaster, Spyglass. So no lands. I do want to be able to kill that at some point. Endbringer. Three mana Brainstorm. We get to put stuff back on top here, which is nice. I guess just like back to basics, Entreat, and then just play a land and Judgment. The Endbringer. because we need to not die because we're at 9. We're like super dead to Walking Ballista. And I can leave up Counterspell, but I also want to win the game. Yes. Cast. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bam. X is currently 2. If we want to leave up Counterspell, yeah, forget it. We're not leaving it up. We're just tapping out everything. Alright. So we would have had to lose 4 angels to leave up Counterspell. That's not worth it to me. Ratchet Bomb, yeah, that'll do it. That'll kill us. Well, you know, I guess 2 angels was good enough. But whatever. That was fun. Back into the match. Probably could have played better there to make it so we didn't lose. But I was also just trying to be fast and talk and do anything else. So it was fun. It was close. Probably leaving up, just making 2 angels was like fine. And I would have traded one of them for the Oblivion Sower. Just winning with that little on the clock seemed dubious, but yeah, 1/4/4 is pretty relevant. Like it can clock. Like Council Judgmenting the Spyglass and then playing Jace was a thing too, like bouncing the Oblivion Sower. But that cast trigger was going to mill us out pretty quickly if we just kept trying to bounce it. It's interesting though. There are a lot of potential lines, potential options. And then we end up kind of being forced into Council Judgmenting the creature anyways, because we're going to die. Alright, let's join another match. We want the die roll, we'll play. This hand's like extraordinarily horrible. And this hand's even worse. This hand's the best one yet. This is a little bit of a nombo, this and this. Ponder's fine, but we're just going to be using that ponder to find, you know, land, so I'd rather just put us a little bit closer to the thing we're really looking for. Alright. So we could turn to a counterbalance and then like not be playing a ponder right away, which I think is what we want to do. So ponder on top, counterbalance on top of that, island on top of that, in case they're playing a Thoughtseize deck. Just one less thing they can take. Because between counterbalance and back to basics, we have a lot of different types of decks covered. If they're playing like an unfair combo deck, looks like they might be playing Eldrazi again. Oh, nope, they're playing Reanimator. So this hand is probably just not going to beat Reanimator. They have like a Lotus Petal and a way to reanimate this, we might just be dead. Just F6 through this. See if they have it, which I'm sure they do. It's like the first hand had forces in it, so if we would have kept that, we would have had forces for this. But the hand was so bad, other than that, that you really just can't keep it solely because force. Like, yeah, maybe it would have given us a chance to win this game, but even though we, like, say we forced their turn 1 reanimation, they probably were going to find more reanimation before we did anything at all with that hand. So I think this was definitely the best hand yet. Just unfortunate that we were just playing the wrong matchup for it. Going into blind matchup, can't be too scared into keeping force hands. I'd rather keep like a hand that I know I'm going to do stuff, because that works anywhere, versus a hand where I'm focused on stopping my opponent doesn't necessarily work anywhere, especially if I'm doing nothing in the meantime. So we just kind of get to watch them do their thing. They did play Shallow Grave as reanimation, so this will get sacrificed at the end of the turn if they somehow don't piece things together. Alright, there's a Thoughtseize, which is going to tell them what we are. Which is like some argument just conceding to that so they don't have the information. But Island Ponder, they're going to be sideboarding for a control deck anyways. They could have still thought we were like Sneak and Show or something like that. It definitely left the options way more open. But I would rather, you know, take my chances of winning this game at all. Which there are some. Like, we do know we have a counterbalance on top. If this Griselbrand dies, we could kind of slowly lock them out of being able to keep going, which is kind of cool. Although we do know what's under that. I believe we know what's under that counterbalance. I just kind of, you know, erased it from my memory bank after figuring we had probably lost the game. Alright, so let's pop out their graveyard. Oh, it was already popped out. There's so many cards. Exhume, Shallow Grave, Living Wish, interesting. Thespian Stage, also very interesting. So it looks like they probably have some kind of Dark Depths thing going on. And the Living Wish will help them find the Dark Depths. Living Wish, yeah, I don't know, all sorts of things they could have with that. Let's see what they reveal. Alright, we're just waiting on our opponent. They do have a Dark Depths. So as if we didn't know that, you know, Rest in Peace is great. In this matchup, Rest in Peace is even greater. So they probably kept like Depth Stage, which is going to make this play, you know, a lot worse. They know our hand. I mean, not like we really would be hiding anything anyways. We only have one card. Okay. Let's reveal. Because I just don't remember what's there. Alright, a Ponder. So they can't cast any of their 1-drops, which means... no. They can't Dark Ritual, at least. That's something. They can't Entomb. Ooh, tapping for snow mana. Exhume, yeah, that gets to happen. So you do just have a Griselbrand now. Bam. Well, we get to Ponder though. Do any of these cards beat Griselbrand? They do not. So let's shuffle them. They can't draw 7 at least until after they hit us. We also can Field of Ruin the Dark Depths. And it's not like they're playing Loam, so they can't just get it right back. Well, I hope they're not playing Loam, because I can't be conclusive. Maybe they just are. Alright, so they draw 7 again. Graveyard's getting pretty juiced. I'm glad I didn't concede to the Thoughtseize. I'm still like 100% to lose here, but it's been fun to watch. And we definitely learned things about their deck. I don't know if it'll change how we sideboard. Also, I don't have Surgicals in my sideboard because they're too expensive in Magic Online, so that's unfortunate. Entomb, okay, so they know they can't cast that. Oh, no, they don't know. Because this is a turn later, huh? Alright. Was I just not revealing stuff? What happened? When? Is this the first spell they cast this turn? I've been paying too little attention. On burial rites, alright, so they know they can cast that. Children of Koilos. So that'll mean they get to draw more. Yep. Sacrifice children. Alright. So there's a back to basics here, which we're still like dead to Griselbrand though, so I guess I should have conceded to revealing that back to basics. I should have upkeep shuffled with Field of Ruin, got a Plains, and then hoped to draw Swords to Plowshares or Counterbalance. I did not play to my outs there, and that's very embarrassing. Alright, so all this stuff's good. This stuff's slow. I don't have Rip Helm anymore, so maybe I just need the Entreat. Maybe I don't. Maybe the Planeswalkers are fine. Snapcaster's not very good when we're bringing in all this graveyard hate. Accumulated Knowledge is also very bad, and it's just slow anyways. Back to basics is pretty slow, not great. Maybe the last Snapcaster is just the card. Doesn't play well with Canonist either. Doesn't play well with Humility. Yes, I would definitely like to play first. I would definitely like to mulligan this hand. Still no forces. Still no graveyard hate. But a Ponder and we are on the play, so I think that'll have to do. This is nice, because it means we can play this on Griselbrand. And I think that has to be good enough, because I just can't guarantee finding other graveyard hate with this. So hating on the Griselbrand maybe is the best thing. If they go turn 1 Griselbrand, we get to Terminus it. But otherwise we're Spyglassing it. I guess we could do both. Put the Plains on the bottom, but we really do want the Plains. At some point, we really don't want to shuffle that away, but I guess it's the most replaceable thing. And don't shuffle. Oh, we can't play the Terminus next turn anyways. Yeah, that was a mistake. Should have kept the Plains. So now we're just going to be stuck with another Terminus strand in hand. That was a huge mistake. That is like a massive mistake. So I don't have Surgical, so that's good. This card hates on Surgical. Cards and graveyards can't be the target of spells or abilities. I just don't think I have anything that does that. And we're gonna just... I'd be very surprised if they had Wasteland. Okay, so they're on a Vampire Hexmage plan. They don't have any reanimation. I think just taking Hexmage, so that way we don't just die to a natural Dark Depths, is the best thing. As unfortunate as that is, the Hexmage also does kill our Jace. But they could also just entomb a Griselbrand, but they don't have any reanimation immediately, so we can maybe get the Humility down. Hexmage. It's more likely that they draw... They kill us with Dark Depths faster than they'd kill us with Griselbrand, especially considering that their deck is not necessarily tuned around going all in with the Griselbrand and just combo killing on the spot. Now they can beat us down with Hexmage. That is definitely a possibility, and I wish we had the Terminus. We kind of are really blowing it right now by giving up that Plains in favor of this deadest of dead cards in our hand. So definitely, watch the land you play turn 1 when you're setting up Terminuses. That was extremely stupid to not be paying attention. LA D. So now they're definitely like, reanimation is big game, because I'm just very clearly not attacking them on the reanimation stuff. Oh. Alright, that's good. It's a spell we can cast. And I do want access to one of those eventually. Now, if the rest of our deck could be lands, that'd be, like, wonderful. So there's a Griselbrand. I do have the Swords to Plowshares for it now. And that assumes that they found either Exhume or their Shallow Grave. They can't be playing something like Animate Dead or whatever. They can also stage us with the Dark Depths. Like, the Hex Mage isn't the only thing that does it. They can draw a million cards here and find a stage. So maybe we just let the Griselbrand live. It sounds awful, but I don't think I want to Swords it right away. Because I want to save the Swords for if they find a stage and get to make a Merit Lage, because they just don't have ways to buy back their Dark Depths, especially considering they're playing Silent Gravestone. They just really have no way to get that back. And considering they Living Wish for it before, maybe they only have one? It seems unlikely, though. Because they did natural play it this turn, so like if they only had one... Okay, so now I just have to cast this on something. And by something, I mean a Griselbrand. Like, it's not like I'm just settling, like, alright, cast the Swords of Plowshares on something horrible. Like, I can just settle that the Griselbrand does have to die. And leave them with a slew of bad cards to take from. The Humility is probably, like, the best of the worst, or the Back to Basics is maybe the best of the worst, because I can possibly play it next turn, and they have 3 non-basics tapped right now. Alright, that's fine. Yeah, like fine in that it can resolve. It, you know, maybe hurts just a little. Alright, what do they take? There are definitely 4 cards that like can get me back in this game if they resolve, but I can't resolve any of them at the moment. So they take the Humility. They're very scared of it. They might not have any way to deal with enchantments in their deck right now. Means I can do some things with Jace. They can, you know, theoretically, they've seen my hand, so I can have 6 now. They can theoretically do this at instant speed. Unless even if I back to basics them, it slows them down a lot if I do that, though, because they just don't have the mana to activate a stage. And they might be able to Thoughtseize again and just take the back to basics anyways. They do have 6 cards in hand, that's a lot of cards. Sorry for the drinking noises. Living Wish, alright. Let's see what they find. Children of Koilos, so they get to gain back a bunch of life. It's not like super relevant because they don't have the Griselbrand right now to spend it on, but it does make future Griselbrands like way better. Oh, like this one. Yeah, this one. We are still pre-combat, so they also get to hit me with it. So let's pop out their graveyard. There goes the Griselbrand. Woo! Flies right back to the field. Alright, so they proceed to storm off on us. So what could we have done differently here? I guess kept a better hand is the only big difference right now. Not have shipped away that Plains would have been a big deal because we could just have back to basics on the field right now. Maybe we wouldn't have drawn the Back to Basics if we would have shipped away the planes. But yeah, we would at least have a chance of casting spells. And maybe I could have just waited on the Sorcerer's Spyglass, but considering the explosive nature of this deck, I really didn't want to wait because they could have just played something that would kill us that turn. Which I believe they could have because they led on the Urborg, I think. And then they could have had played the turn 2 Dark Depths, Vampire Hexmage hit the Dark Depths. So having the Spyglass right away was very good. And the misplay was having the wrong card left on top of our library. And the wrong card in hand. But yeah, we've talked about that play. No need to dwell on it. I just happen to be talking about it a lot because we have a lot of time. Laboratory Maniac. Now that's very spicy. Alright. Do they have a way to mill themselves out? I guess the Gristlebrand will do it. So they can do it one more time. And then they just have to hit me and then do it the last time. I would tell them GG's. Let's see, can I do that? The new update does stuff with the chat and usually say like good luck, have fun, but yeah, they can mill me out. So we'll watch it happen because it's cool. You don't see someone win with Laboratory Maniac and Legacy very often. There we go. Alright, on to the next. Alright, so rough start, but we can rally back. Prizes go to, people 3 and 2 or better, so we're not knocked out of prizes. Look at that beautiful treasure chest booster. Look at the deck in the meantime. Yeah, there we go. Look at the deck. So things that I would change, like, there would probably be Surgical in here. Not like Surgical would have done anything in that last game because they did have the Silent Gravestone, which isn't like a super common card. Maybe it's becoming more common because of Surgical. But that's maybe something I would change. Obviously, I mentioned that it was out for budget regions. So I don't know what it would replace. There's definitely a lot of things to consider. Swordmaster, I played him last night. I believe last night he was playing a Sultai Delver deck, unless I'm thinking of someone else. And this hand's just good against anything. It has, it's good against combo because it has the force. It's good against fair decks, and to some degree combo decks because it has the counterbalance, and then it just has ponders to find more things. So I would call this a good hand. I'll probably lead on the island. Because no matter what, I'm casting a Ponder turn 1. I really don't want to fetch out a Tundra, because it'll probably get wastelanded. Let's see, I can actually make the chat come up. Oh wait, game log? No, show chat. Now that it's on my mind, I can remember to do it. Alright. He kept, I'll keep. He'll go first. Looks like this is Sultai Delver player. So I can protect my counterbalance here with a force, but it's some serious card disadvantage. And I think the card disadvantage value matters more to me. Maybe I should have protected. They also just have another chance to take it before I get a chance to play it, though, because they're on the play. Oh, they took a Ponder anyway, so they probably do have another way to stop a counterbalance. And I'm just going to Ponder. And I do have a fetch and a Brainstorm, which is nice. Alright, they can Daze. That's totally fine. I was not relying on that Ponder. My hand's okay as it is. Is this working? I guess I'll just assume it is. Alright. So the Underground Sea comes back. And think just leaving up Brainstorm and Counterbalance here is fine. I have no reason to rush out the Counterbalance when I know they play Daze. That said, setting them back another land drop would be fine. They might play Spell Pierce too, all sorts of things that make that kind of bad. And also I'm going a little bit shields down. Yeah, that's totally fine. I'm not going to try and fight over a Ponder. Let's pop the graveyards out since they're probably going to get big in this match. So, let's brainstorm. Brainstorm, fetch. So I haven't forced anything yet, and I don't think I'm going to force anything at all. I'm just going to fetch that away. I'm going to try and resolve the Counterbalance. They might have Spell Pierce, and that's a blowout. But, you know, they also might not. I do have a sword if they play a Delver or something of that nature. They could play like a land and play a True Name, which I don't have an answer for. Feel very comfortable where I'm at right now, though, because I do have the Counterbalance down, which gives me just a little bit extra layer of protection over everything I do, which they don't have. And they do have a colorless land in a 3-color deck, which is cool. Alright, so Decay can't be countered. I will take a peek at my top card. It's a Teferi. So I will probably end up shuffling him away. And probably doing it before I brainstorm. Unless I really need to force something, in which case I can pitch him to the force. I do lose all my fetches if I do. Just gonna straight up do this. The arguments for doing it differently would have to do with, okay, so do I want to fetch, would have to do with Brainstorm and how I fetch. I kind of do want Teferi now, because I can still find my land drop through brainstorming, which I get to. I think just so no matter how I spin this, I can't have force and swords. I might just want to shuffle away 2 forces, but then I have no counter magic. But I do have Teferi coming up. I would like to back up Teferi with a force because he's that good. So I don't think I need the force right now because Teferi can take care of whatever. Teferi can tuck anything that resolves this turn. Sounds a True Name Nemesis, so it's very bad if I'm against True Name Nemesis. They don't even have the mana for it right now, though. Everything else I feel comfortable with. Naked Brainstorm is fine. So I hope I'm drawing the force, which I am. And I'm just going to go ham with the fetches and try and resolve a Teferi. I could wait a turn to draw another land and then be able to pay for days, which is like a consideration. But they do only have 1 island and it's tapped, so they'd have to have force and days as their card. And I'll force that. Now they have to have a force as well, which they do not. So we'll plus, see what we draw. It's a land that's just going to get wastelanded if I play it right now. Well, I guess I do get to untap 2 lands, but they can wasteland in response to the trigger. So let's just save that for a time where I can activate it and hit the Underground Sea probably. Yeah, that's pretty good. So I guess it kind of got wastelanded either way, and they get to save a wasteland now, which is unfortunate. But I do have Teferi. So Teferi is a good way to rebuild from a Hymn to Torak. This one I play. There's no reason not to. Now let's just draw a card first before we decide to do anything. Alright. We'll probably cycle this Accumulated Knowledge. Do I do it now? Yeah. Because I'm going to get done tap the lands. Probably should have thought about that sooner, so then I could have punched through the back to basics. Yeah, that's fine. You can ponder. Pretty well defended here. I believe Teferi will also ultimate right away. I think I don't want to get greedy in the face of... so I think just counterspelling is better than losing cards. Okay, cool. So we don't know tons about their deck. We do know they're a control deck of sorts, so Gideon's probably fine. They have a lot of wastelands to search, is not great. I believe they're a Delver deck, so like Supreme Verdict will kind of do things, but yeah, they could have changed from yesterday. I don't love Force. Force kind of wins Counter Wars. They do have Lilianas, so those are good. Force is like good for the end of a Counter War, but it's not great. In fact, it's kind of bad. Flusterstorms are much better in Counter Wars than Forces, I think. The Planeswalkers are all super good. Wish I could like trim and Accumulated Knowledge, but I don't know if that's really where I want to be. We didn't see any creatures that game, so like if they have creatures, not tons. So I think my swords and stuff should be fine for taking care of it. You know, like Terminus 3 is plenty. Now we wait for them to sideboard. They have more information about us than we do about them, so they definitely have a lot to think about. So this can take out like a Liliana or something. This can protect this, and that's about it. Hand doesn't do much else. This is better. I'm going to be fetching turn 1, but I'm going to be drawing the card. And this does let me do a Brainstorm with fetch land next turn, so that's good. Bang. Alright. So we'll get a basic here. We saw 3 Wastelands last game, so we just definitely know we're against Wasteland. And then we'll ponder. Alright, they're fetching. Maybe they'll try and like Spell Pierce us. Which they will. Okay, I'm fine with that. You know, we definitely would like to find lands. We do have this Brainstorm though, which will let us also ship away the Terminus, which is cool. Because we just don't seem to care about Terminus much. I shouldn't say we should ship it away. They might play something here which would cause us to keep it. But it's looking like maybe Hymn to Torak. Yep, Hymn to Torak. That's fine. Our Spyglass and our Counterspell, so we're weak to Liliana. And the Brainstorm first. We're no longer weak to Liliana. So definitely this wants to go, but everything else is like good enough. Brainstorm's not great though because we're running out of ways to shuffle. So I think this is probably put this lower than this because I am more like there's more incentive to keep a terminus because it might do something. Yeah, I'm probably shuffling both away. But if I don't, I want the one that stays on top, the one that I would actually want to use, which in this case is the terminus. Another hymn to Torak would be devastating. And it is another hymn to Torak. And it is devastating. It's just getting island, I guess, because I have the plains in hand. This hurts me when it comes to like Council's Judgment, but Counter Spell seems more relevant. Yeah, we drew an island, so we definitely want to play the plains in case we get hit with another hymn to Torak. Which, even though we have one card, isn't out of the question. They might want to just get us nothing. But I would, yeah, definitely just value having the plains on the field more than a third island. We're weak to a lot of things here. They could resolve a planeswalker and get us pretty good. True Name we're not as weak to as a planeswalker because we do still have Terminus as a card in our deck. So I would prefer to leave the Jace alive for longer. I'm just going to plus it myself. Yes, I really just want something that killed a True Name. And this Jace will get to plus 2 more times before getting deaded. If my opponent chooses to go for it, which, yeah, they should. I might even brainstorm here, depending on what I draw. It would have been nice to keep a second Jace, because I do know this one will inevitably die. But I just want to get to stuff faster. Stuff that, like, kills a True Name instead of dies to a True Name. Also stuff that kills a Bitter Blossom. So let's look at my hand again. Look at my library again. So Snapcaster Mage can hit Judgment. It means I'm not drawing land next turn, so it like can't hit Judgment. Just gonna put it on the bottom. I think I just need to, you know, I'm kind of at the point where I don't really know where what I'm looking for. And like there is definitely a world where Snapcaster Mage was it, because I could Snapcaster the Judgment. It's just so slow. I really want to just be able to like take care of the True Name first with like a Terminus, and then work on the Bitter Blossom and whatnot. And maybe that's where like brainstorming with Jace would have been, and just letting it die sooner would have been better. It is also eating up a lot of damage, which is kind of nice. Liliana, yeah, that's not good. So they just played like 3 things that we basically need Judgments to take care of, and we're kind of running low on Judgments. So no matter what I do, Jace is going to die, so I would rather do the better thing, which is this. Swords are pretty bad. I think accumulated knowledges are like better. I'm gonna use 1 now. Maybe that was a mistake. I knew that card was on top, didn't I? That's a little embarrassing. I could, if they try to kill the Jace with just the fairy, I could Swords the fairy and keep the Jace around. So where are they going? Jace, Jace. Now I could try and fetch and draw into a Terminus, which I think I do want to do. Bang. Terminus. Alright, Brainstorm. Let's check the time in the game log here. 1:42 a.m. Alright. A little late. This has been a long one. Alright, so we did not find a Terminus. That's okay. You know, we can still find one. And those accumulate knowledges were nice because we do have a hand again. There it is. Wouldn't be a miracles video if we didn't hit a miracle at least once. Unfortunately, we don't have a counterspell. Oh, but we didn't need one. Alright, perfect. So what do I care more about? Getting down counterbalance? I think I care more about getting down counterbalance than getting down back to basics. They don't have any of their non-basics tapped right now, so they're still going to get an extra use out of them. And counterbalance also gets abrupt decayed. So I don't want to give them information about what's on the top of the library because I have no way to manipulate it right now. So I could get excited and take a peek early, but it's not worth the cost of giving them a peek. Liliana's also going to win pretty quickly here, and yeah, second true name's pretty good. So I gotta find something that takes care of this. I believe I brought in the spyglasses for that reason. Yeah, one of them's right here. Alright, so Brainstorm. All lands. Put on top, put on top. Play land. Pow. Strong card. Late card. So it might just not be good enough here. That's fine, I'm not representing anything. I would rather have my spell actually resolve than bluff a spell out. And the good thing about them playing Daze there is they do get to pick up their Underground Sea, so they get one last shot with their blue-black duel before it gets locked down forever. So I'm going to want to fetch at some point, so I guess I will just... there's no reason to fetch now. I'm not going to kill a fairy rogue with the swords. I believe this player also plays Goyf, so I would rather save it for something like that. I'll let that resolve too, so I gotta draw a way to answer Liliana. I'm gonna fetch out a Plains, because that'll help me do it. It's, Council of Judgment is a double white spell. I do only have like one Judgment, one Spyglass, and one Teferi left as my ways to deal with that card. Teferi's not particularly an ideal one because it's basically 5 mana, delay a Liliana. It eats up a damage as well. Just one. Does this change the clock if I Swords of Fairy Rogue? They're doing 5 next turn, 6 the turn after. So I get to leave a card up, and I'm not going to use all my mana anyways. Yeah, so Liliana ultimates, and I lose the game. Alright. Let's see how this game would have played out. Accumulated knowledge draws 3, and then it draws into a Judgment, but Liliana's already ultimated. I guess I could have given them a chance, like see if they got greedy. This player's not going to get greedy, though. And then I'm also just dead to this stuff anyways. Yeah, this gets to kill this Judgment, but there's a Bitter Blossom. I'm really going to need a Terminus at some point to take care of those tokens. So, things that change. being able to take out Liliana is still really good. Humility maybe gets better because we know they have True Name. Terminus maybe gets better because we know we have True Name. I like Verdict because it can't be countered. That's kind of cool. Do I love Gideon? Not really. So like Verdict is coming in, which, you know, not a great thing. I'm swapping a Verdict for Terminus. And like Humility is the other consideration. Most of their things are Fairy Rogues anyways, though. I guess that's a good thing about Gideon is he can outrace a Bitter Blossom. And Sword seems kind of bad. Because their creatures are Bitter Blossom. So maybe a Terminus is even better than a Swords. His True Name as another thing that exists. Alright, that looks good. It's not good, but it brainstorms. It has a piece of defense. I don't know if I really want to run the Tundra out turn 1. I don't think I do, because I don't want to play the Brainstorm turn 1 anyways. So I think I just want to play a Flooded Strand, and then next turn Flooded Brainstorm and play a Flooded Strand. And that makes it so I don't have a way to shuffle my second Brainstorm, but hopefully by then I've just seen better things anyways. This is a sketchy keep for sure. But this also is a long and grindy matchup, so going down a card is a cost. I guess it's not as big of a cost in this format as it is in a format like Standard, where it's harder to regain your card advantage, because I do have the Accumulated Knowledges, the Jaces, and stuff here to kind of dig me out of a mulligan. But yeah, I have 2 Brainstorms, 2 ways to shuffle, and Flusterstorm, which seems like it's going to be a key defensive card when I'm up against things like Hymn to Torak. My opponent definitely has a tough one as well, taking their time to decide whether they want to mulligan or not. Okay, they kept. Not necessarily great news because I kept and mine's not very great. But if they tank that long, you know, they might also be keeping a so-so hand. Alright. So I think I just want to fetch. I have a Plains in hand, so Basic Island is totally fine here. They might daze this in some crazy world. To counterbalance, it's not really necessary. They do have Abrupt Decay, so like it's kind of fine, but yeah, one of those can go back. So I get to hold up the Swords to Plowshares in case they play something like a Delver. Which I know we haven't seen Delver or Goyf, but I believe this player is playing Delver and Goyf. If they just never play one in the whole match, then maybe I'll look like a bit of a fool. But it fits, and I did play against the same person a day ago, so I can't imagine they would have changed that much in their deck. I do want to fetch away whatever's on top. And I'll get a second island here. That way I can cast my Counterbalance. I'm going to cast the Counterbalance without a Flusterstorm to back it up. But the thing... That's really good. That's like not a good play. But I do happen to have a Brainstorm in hand. So it is going to hit my hand. You know, like in a way, that's a Thoughtseize. That said, my opponent is down a card just to hit a Brainstorm from my hand. So I'm not upset about that. And especially because the Brainstorm wasn't what I was playing anyways. They do get to look at my deck, which is, you know, bad for me because they do get to know how I sideboarded. Interesting. Very interesting to see Surgical in this matchup. Fizzle Snapcaster Mages, which is, you know, decent. Alright, so I guess they kind of shuffled my library for me, so I didn't really need to crack there. But yeah, let's just, if I play Counterbalance, I can't leave up. It's like, it's Daze proof. The only thing is like Spell Pierce punishes me, but the thing they're probably gonna kill it with anyways is Abrupt Decay, and there's nothing I can do to stop an Abrupt Decay. I get to hold up the Sword Splasher still. Yeah, not like it's doing that much. They can also kind of deduce what's in my hand by having seen my deck. So the Ponder I just drew, so they don't know about that. The swords, I boarded out 2 of them, so they only saw 1 swords in the deck, so they really can't pin that on my hand. And the Flush Storm, they saw 1 in the deck. And that's something they also just might not know how many I have. So it is a decay that takes out the Counterbalance. I also, once again, have no way to manipulate the library, so no reason to give them information about what I'm about to draw. The Flusterstorm would have been good to hold up in the face of Hymn to Torak happening here. And that probably will happen, and I'll be super blown out and sad. Definitely would like to maybe pick a land up off the top, so that way I could play Back to Basics with Flusterstorm. But I do have a Ponder, so I can play it slow if I don't find one. Unless they Surgical my Ponders, which, alright, they can't. Alright, so they go to combat, which hopefully means I'm not getting hymned. It's not too late, we are on the second main. Come on, don't hymn me. Alright, we're on the end step, so we survived. And we get to do this. And hold this up. How great is that? If they try and cast a Spell Pierce, I can do that. If they daze it, I can just pay for the daze. Alright, they're brainstorming. That's fine. Increases the storm count for my Flusterstorm. Decreases the amount of mana they have to pay for my Flusterstorm. Not like it was making much of a difference anyways. So we're going to be 3 copies of Flusterstorm. So I guess it would make a difference if Force is the answer they have, which, man, do I hope Force is the answer. And it wasn't. I'm going to leave Flusterstorm up. I'm way more concerned about preventing a Hymn to Torak from happening than I am just pondering. Thoughtseize, so they just get to take my Ponder. Which is a little bad. But they did have to tap an Underground Sea to do it, and there's a Back to Basics out. So that part is good. Oh, they take the Flusterstorm, alright. So they are going to try and resolve something here, which will probably be a Hymn to Torak, which will put me at 0 cards. Really, if they would have taken the Ponder, I would have been left 1 card, and it would be Swords to Plowshares, which isn't being that great right now anyways. Alright, so they have Assassin's Trophy or Abrupt Decay up. do a trophy knowing that I have no counter spells right now, and I will take advantage of this and find a land. And we draw. Do we draw, or do they surgical back to basics? They're doing something. They are surgicaling back to basics. So there is one in my deck, and it will be removed from my deck. So I don't have that free win there. But I still have my cards. They're going to take this one or leave it in the graveyard? They're looking at my deck once. Hey, they left it in the graveyard, so maybe there's some world where we can get it back. I just don't think I want any of those. I like all of these. Man, I really like all of these. So to play the counterbalance this turn, I would have to shuffle. So that's going on bottom. Then Snapcaster Mage. Then Spyglass. I will not shuffle. So I will play you. Play you. Get a look at their hand and get to stop Liliana Last Hope, which is in their hand. If this were still the 5th edition text, I could also stop the Sylvan Library, but it's not, so we'll settle for Liliana. Alright, so they will get down a Sylvan Library. It's going to be able to draw them 2 cards before they can't use it to draw cards anymore. So there's a Snapcaster on top. And underneath that's a counterbalance. I believe I'm fine with both those things still. Nothing changes. And do I ponder? I don't think I ponder. I think I just leave this up with Flusterstorm. I can always ponder later. So they can draw some cards. And they get to look at a lot of cards. So this could put them back up to 5 cards in hand, which is going to be tough to play through. The counterbalance will be a big game because it might be able to just counter several spells. If they find a way to kill the Spyglass, that's bad news because Flusterstorm can't counter Liliana. I can Snapcaster at the end of turn and get 1 hit in on Lily, but then Lily can kill Snapcaster, so that's not great either. And I know counterbalance is underneath that. If Lily does get played to a Sorcerer's Spyglass being destroyed, I'm not, like, super happy. But in the meantime, I am happy about this. And they didn't draw any. So there's Snapcaster in here. I can't counter that. I have to let it go, and if they pick the Decay, I can't do anything about that. And Lily does get to resolve unless there's a 3 on top of my library, but the 3 gets to kill Lily anyways. And the other 3 got surgical, so you know, they might have just saved their Liliana that way. Oh, that's gonna resolve. And that's going to resolve too. There's like some argument to Snapcaster pondering here, because then I can just at least try to kill the Lily. Then my Lily gets, or my Snapcaster, I think it's probably still what I want to do. It doesn't feel good. but I do have a counterbalance in play. So, can a Jace outrace a Liliana? So it's a long shot to be able to counter it with counterbalance. I have to shuffle into the perfect card, which is unlikely. So what I need to decide now is how good is Jace? And it seems very good. To Field of Ruin. A land. I can't Field of Ruin anything this turn no matter what I do. So I think Field of Ruin can go at the bottom. Top. I'm going to draw this anyways, because I have no shuffle. And that's more likely to counter more things. Like an Assassin's Trophy. Or another Snapcaster Mage, or a Goyf. Like, the big card I'm worried about coming down is Liliana. There's no 4-drop that leaving Jace on top would really protect me from, besides an opposing Jace, but I think they would play a Liliana over that because it kills my Snapcaster. So that's fine. I'll do this. I don't know if that's really the right time to do that, but I'm not going to show them what's on top. That way, if they play a land and try to play a 2-drop, I can counter it. Yep, Lily gets to live. So I can ambush Lily, or I can play Jace, and I think I just want to play Jace. I want to Brainstorm. Ooh, Teferi is great. I think I want to leave him on top. And I'm going to get to Jason to him. I can't guarantee I'll get to Jason to him. I would definitely prefer to leave the Snapcaster. I can assume discard will hit whatever I keep here. But I think like Field of Ruin, Teferi, play the Tundra, leave up the Snapcaster. I'm giving up on counterbalance value by leaving a 5-drop on top, but I really want that Teferi protected, and I don't want to put it 1 card deeper because it means if Jace dies, I can't draw it next turn. Or at least can't draw it and play it. I could draw it off Snapcaster and Ponder. And then definitely a time like this is a time I wish, I had kept. That said, I get to run this out. And probably target Flusterstorm. But not cast it. What am I more worried about? I'll target Swords and not cast it. I know it's on top, and it can answer Liliana, which is great, which I guess is why I more want to leave Swords open, because I can snipe a creature, and Flusterstorm can't hit a Bitter Blossom anyways. Let's Brainstorm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's no way I can. So if I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I can't play through Daze, Spell Pierce exactly unless I keep the land. But if I keep the counterspell, then I can counterspell something they play on their turn. So I think I am more concerned about that. but putting counterspell on top. Oh, man, it's tough. It's very tough. What if I put Jace counterspell on top? Play the land, and then I get to reveal counterspell to things, and that gets to stop. I think that's what I'm gonna do. That gets to stop Bitter Blossom. There's nothing they can do about it. So what beats me here? A Spell Pierce doesn't, because I can pay. A Daze doesn't, and a Counterspell doesn't, because I can reveal Counterspell. Not revealing. Nothing I could have put on top that would let me reveal to that. When this Teferi comes down, it's absolutely tucking Liliana. Or else she ultimates and wins the game. Now I have a counterspell on top and can have it up when they redraw the Liliana. Oh, they can redraw the Liliana this turn. That's bad. Keeping counterspell is way more important than putting it on top. That's very unfortunate. That's how I did reset the clock on Liliana. Okay. I will not. Jace can bounce that. Is this the Liliana? It is, and I can't counter it because I was stupid and forgot the Sylvan Library when I stacked the top of my library. So there's another Jace, which is cool. I kind of like that because I'm probably going to use up this Jace, and so I want to draw that. I want to bounce this. And then I can reveal something to this Field of Ruin, or I'm sorry, reveal something to this Counterbalance, and then shuffle away with Field of Ruin if I don't like it. Definitely Sylvan Library's gotten a lot of value for my opponent. They can still draw cards off it too. They just have plenty of life, and I'm not pressuring the life total at all. Delver, so now I can reveal. And it's a Misty Rainforest. So I'll let this resolve. I have another Jace. Him. So first things first. Kill this. With this. Get an island. Reveal. And it gets countered by AK. Sweet. Picks up Liliana. So, just draw with the fairy. Draw with AK. Brainstorm with Jace. Terminus isn't countering anything, but it does get to at least threaten the Delver. And then play Gideon. Make a token. Yeah, leave up Counterspell and Swords. So they reveal the Tarmogoyf, which they really had no reason to do. But I do know Tarmogoyf's in the deck, so that makes keeping Swords that much better. I did it. I did something right. Alright, so they're going to tick up Liliana here. Which is fine. They're going to go to combat. Where's this going? This is going at Teferi. And I'm just going to block. Because Teferi really needs to be able to tuck the Liliana again at some point. Assuming I find no other way to deal with it. Okay, so on top is a Terminus. So I will not reveal. And I will just let this resolve. So I could tick down here and deal with Liliana right away. Or I can risk it. Not that concerned about Jace dying anymore. Let's shuffle. Accumulated knowledge. I'm not concerned about Liliana ulting immediately. It's the only thing that can kill my Teferi is Trophy, and I can counter that with many things. A flurry of things. And I have Entreat, which can just win faster than Lily can win right now anyways. So Teferi living more important. There's only 19 cards left in my library, so I could find my second Spyglass or either of my Judgments. Goyf, I don't remember what I put on top. It's a land. Or something. I mean, I'll reveal anyways, just because I don't remember. But it's a land, yeah. I have a Swords for that. Yep. Liliana can do her thing. Now Swords it. Do you have any way to shuffle my library? No? Alright. I might need to tuck the Liliana, so let's brainstorm. Nice, alright. Put on top. Put that on top of that. I didn't mean to click that, it kind of moved spots and my Spyglass wasn't there anymore when I went to click it. Force. Let's just reveal the top. Is there a Force on top? I boarded those out. Alright. This comes down. They have no cards in hand. Though they concede. Okay, I'm stuck in this screen forever. Okay. Oh no, it's all okay. There we go. Alright, we won the match, so we're not completely defeated. We have hope. And we spin back in again for another round of 2:16 a.m. Legacy. And let me find out if my freaking last FM is working. No, not that. Okay, I guess that's fine. Okay, it's working. Great. Is there anything else we can look at in the meantime? Anything cool? I've got Discord, I can read messages. So, we're in a blind matchup again. We have two forces, one land that can get wastelanded, and then some bad cards. Alright, so we're in a blind matchup again. We have one land, this one can't get wastelanded, and we have one force. That's a bit better, and we do have a ponder, a brainstorm, etc. So the AK goes straight to the bottom. Ooh, nice choice of basics. Let's get our preview pane up and look at that. Yeah, there's some good lands in Mirage. Mine's not from Mirage, but honestly it could be. Alright, get that preview pane out of the way because we're brainstorming, or we're pondering, I mean, not brainstorming. We're shuffling. Every day I am shuffling. And we have somehow managed to draw, you know, the worst thing we could draw. But that's okay. We have a brainstorm. We could put it back, assuming we eventually find lands. We're probably against Sneak and Show. It could be like Shadow. It could be Opposing Miracles. There's not a good way to know by this, but Preordain's always in Sneak and Show versus only sometimes in a deck like... Alright, so we're almost certainly against Sneak and Show here. Which makes our force not necessarily bad. Alright, we do have to fire this off. Alright, that's sweet. That's good news. I just want to draw both of these. I want to draw the Flooded Strand first, since it can fetch out a basic if need be. That said, I can probably safely fetch out a Tundra in this matchup. Yep, that's fine. If it's a show and tell, we force it. It's a show and tell. We force it. It's going to be a long time before the Snapcaster manages to do anything. They force it. So, it could be something really bad like an Omniscience, and if that's the case, I can fetch, brainstorm. Yeah, like Omniscience and Emrakul win the game here. There's nothing I can really do about that, unfortunately. I think I do have to fetch and brainstorm, because I can also put the Terminus back on top, which makes it so I just don't straight die to Emrakul. If it's just Griselbrand, doing this is the worst. Okay. So we're going to be a little bit locked. But the good news is we're putting a ponder on top and getting rid of an accumulated knowledge, and we're not dying. So, you know, that's what this card does. It's horrible card, disadvantage. I've been double him to Toract. But we're alive. And sometimes that's all you need. I'm not going to ponder right away. Leaving up counterspell is more important if they just go, you know, try and cast something silly, which I guess with their card count in hand is kind of unlikely. And I guess I also had the Terminus on top, so I'm going to make the same play again, though. Because now they actually have the mana to do something silly. So last turn was my window to Terminus, and sorry, my window to ponder, and I didn't use it, which is a little unfortunate. Definitely a mistake. So I should have thought through, like, if their card is a show and tell, and they have to play a land. Oh, I guess that math might have worked out. They had 2 cards in hand. So they could have gone land, show and tell, like Emrakul or something. Now, though, I can safely do this. Spell Pierce is still a card they play. How much do I care about pondering? Not enough. Not enough. That kind of shows that they don't have a way to just win the game, because they would rather save their thing to defend their ability to win the game. Oh hey, they have a way to win the game. So do I want to... I think I still want Tundra, because I can vote for a Omniscience with the Council's Judgment. Alright. It definitely makes my back to basics way worse, having fetched out Double Tundra. But I know they don't play Wasteland. And, you know, having my colors I think is more important. So now we top deck. Alright, they ponder. Okay. Well, we're super safe against Griselbrand and just super dead to anything else. It's hard to say we're super safe against the card where they can still just draw 7. Alright, Council's Judgment. Nope. Maybe I should have saved that, so if I get Emrakul, I still have a land. If I get Emrakul, I'm also at 1, and then I can't fetch with it, so I don't have a land, so maybe it didn't matter. And they do have Emrakul. Alright. So this card's really good, because if they show and tell, we can just set this down. Back to basics is kind of bad. They only have Volks, and they're probably not going to fetch them out, because they know I'm a back to basics deck. This names Sneak Attack preemptively. These are not exciting, but they're not horrible. This is also not exciting, but not horrible. This card slows them down. This card stops their counter spells and their show and tell. Terminus bad. Swords bad. Are all the Terminuses bad? I don't think they're that bad, but they are bad. And this is bad too. But are all the swords bad? Kind of, yes. It does only take care of Griselbrand, and they get to draw a bunch. We do have Containment Priest now. We probably want to keep the forces. I think we go down swords. This can still hit like Emrakul and stuff. This hand is reactive. It doesn't beat a sneak attack. It slows down their cantripping, but it will also slow down my cantripping. I'm fine with my cantripping being slow, but it's also just kind of bad. This hand's way worse. This hand's also bad, so you know, things are not looking great. The first hand was probably the best, but you know, you can't know that. I should have played Accumulated Knowledge there. That's fine. I was thinking about Entreat versus Mentor. Just seeing it in my hand here, obviously has a very extremely dead card. I'm just trying to see if I could get any clues in on how I feel about Entreat versus Mentor, but I think just ultimately I still don't have the information. And it didn't really cross my mind that I had AK, because I'm usually playing Predict, which I probably wouldn't have played a Predict there. Might have played it just to cycle. But anyways, so we would have hit a land drop if we would have done the AK sooner. It said, you know, it's not disaster. We missed one land drop. But we still get to hold up our counter spell where it matters. And we did find another AK, which is nice. So that's going to help dig us out of our mulligan a little bit, just getting some card advantage. So they're going to try and play a sneak attack here and then have the red mana up to activate it. If they have a Spell Pierce, they can't activate it this turn, which is good. That said, I now it makes, missing the AK really bad. And I could lose because of missing that AK that turn. What's my graveyard? Nothing I can Snapcaster back, so these cards have to be good, and they're not good. Ponder, just to try and hit something, which is not going to happen. Shuffle. There's the Spyglass, fashionably late. Sneak attack. In comes Griselbrand. Okay. Sneak attack. In comes Emrakul. Okay, I'm dead. These both have haste, and they will kill me. Games. We'll do one more. We are officially out of any prizes, but we can play for fun. So, did this league go well? Not great. The first matchup was definitely a lot of losses to misplays. The second matchup was probably a loss anyway. I spun it. I don't know if there's anything I could have done to have that one go differently. Round 3 was fine. I'm sure I made misplays in there, but we won the round, so it worked out okay in the end. And then round 4 also had misplays. To say it was lost to misplays, I don't know. It feels like my hands were not great there. And definitely game 2 was way on the back foot. Now, if I would have had the extra land drop from the accumulated knowledge, I would have been able to pay for Spell Pierce there, so that would have been huge. It's hard to say, I didn't really have any action, so if they had more action, then they were going to win, but at least I could have given myself a chance by doing that. So, definitely, this league has not gone as well as it could have. There are likely we would be 2-2. There's some crazy world where we maybe even could have been 3-1 right now. 4-0, probably out of the question, but that's kind of how things have been going so far. I haven't really learned enough about things I want to change in the deck yet. I'm definitely not in love with Entreat, but I also wasn't totally in love with Mentor either. Alright, so this hand is bad. This hand's fine. That's not good. Oh, that's bad as well. I maybe could have drawn the Ponder and then drawn another land and shuffled the last land away. But I'd rather just find something instead of making one of my draw steps be a land. I'd rather none of my draw steps be a land right now. Another basic island. Well, one of my draw steps ended up being a land anyways. And I'll play it. I'll play this one because it can fetch out a basic. I don't imagine that being relevant. In fact, I don't imagine myself fetching at all here. It takes a land out of the deck, but having these to shuffle Brainstorms seems more worthwhile. Now I can get to the point where I can start just cracking fetches to cast spells. I don't think I want to Snapcaster Ponder. I'll just kind of sit for a bit and probably fetch out an island, cast an Accumulated Knowledge. So it looks like we're in the mirror, which means this Snapcaster, I'm sorry, this Force is not great. No, do not reveal that. Judgment's good. I could Snapcaster Accumulated Knowledge, but that's not really a combo. If my opponent casts an Accumulated Knowledge, I can Snapcaster mine in response. That's kind of cool. I do have to crack both my fetches to do that, though. I value uncracked fetches kind of highly in this scenario. I could also just let my opponent draw 2 off an AK. Jace. So I could let them brainstorm once and then judgment, or I could force. Which is interesting. And I could like flash and snapcaster here to untap and judgment. I definitely like don't want to cast this force, but there's other things I could judgment as well. I think I will force because there's just nothing I want to snapcaster. And I'd rather save the judgment for something better. I also expected this to happen where they spend a force of their own. They got to pitch a worse card than I did, though. And now I'll get to judgment the Jace. I could have also used force to back up the judgment, I guess would have been an option. And there's a lot of possibilities there. I don't know which one is right and which one is wrong. So the worst thing they could do is back to basics, meaning they can back to basics themselves. So I'll get a Tundra. That way my colors are good. If they can force this, then that's bad. But they can't. Alright, cool. If they can play a second Jace, then that's really bad too. Man, I just have so fewer cards than they do. I guess I mulliganed. They got the Jace once. I forced, but they forced. Oh, it's Stoneblade. Okay. So this Terminus is not a dead card anymore. They're probably going to find a Sword of Fire and Ice or a Battered Skull. Definitely those are the 2 good options. So I'd like to be able to kill this thing. And my best way to do it, I think, is just Terminus. And get blown out by Spell Pierce, but then be able to Snapcaster Council's Judgment on the Battered Skull itself. And I'm going to get a basic Plains because they still can back to basics, mean that would cut me off double white, which is really bad. Because then I can't Snapcaster Judgment. So that slows down the development of the Battered Skull. I'm like super empty-handed though, and they have 7 cards somehow. What have they been doing that I've not been doing? Because they played a Stoneforge which replaced itself, you know, and they played a Jace that replaced itself, and so I'm down 2 cards from those things. We're both equally down a card from Force. I have more lands on the field. So I mean, obviously all the math lines up, but it doesn't feel good. I can Council's Judgment that. They're far away from it coming active. So I'm probably just going to accumulate knowledge here and see if I can hit something relevant to play in my main phase. Like a land. Counterspell. Okay, so unfortunately, I don't have the mana to Snapcaster Judgment. So they're going to get 1 look with this search, at least. I do have the Field of Ruin too for when it flips, and they have kind of no way to deal with that. So they just drop a back to basics here. Or a Blood Moon. So Blood Moon seems unlikely. Alright. So they have hard cast Force up. I think I'll just have to let them search for a while. Interesting. All these cards are quite good. If I cast the Accumulate Knowledge, I draw 3, which is great. Then one of the cards I draw is the Entreat, which is not as great. I think maybe the right play looks something like this. No? and just kind of wait and see. Definitely there's big merits to Counterspell over AK here. But I think countering what they do isn't necessarily the fight I want to fight. They can win a counter war. I just want to draw cards. I want whatever they do to resolve. I draw cards and then I deal with it. And I also want to be able to shuffle with this Field of Ruin to potentially get rid of that Entreat and Counterspell so I can just draw fresh cards. I would like to draw the Counterspell, but if I draw the Counterspell, I'm drawing the Entreat with it, and I really don't want the Entreat. Like, if I think I can just win with the Entreat at some point, that's kind of good. But I don't really feel like I can do that. Okay, they can ponder. So they've got the search thing going on. And they'll be able to flip it next turn. I hope they do, because then I could just Field of Ruin it. And I was talking about using the Field of Ruin to shuffle. I don't think I ever want to do that because I want to save it. So I think I'm just going to draw the Entreat, which isn't something I wanted to do, but whatever. And I can still Snapcaster AK to draw 3. Yeah, that's fine. So I'm just gonna pop the Snapcaster. Force. If I counter this, I have a Snapcaster, and I can't cast an AK. I really can't cast anything. So I'll let them do that. They exiled a True Name to do that. So that's very key. They're at 1 card in hand. They'll get to flip their search, but I have a Field of Ruin. I did tap my Field of Ruin, but I'm not that concerned with it because they did flip. So they're going to get 1 activation out of this no matter what, unless they play Teferi here. That's fine. These are cards they're going to be looking at again with Azcanta, assuming they don't have a shuffle effect. Stoneforge, that draws out a counter. And the counter sticks. So I'm going to draw Entreat. And do I want to just Entreat a bunch? I let them Azcanta more, but they didn't have a thing to protect their Stoneforge. So I'm not too worried about the last card being counter, and they'd have to find like a Force here. Or a Spell Pierce. Okay, so I can make like 2 angels, and those can get swords. If I make like 2 angels, I'm gonna go all out. They might play Daze. If their last card is a Daze, then I get blown out. Looks like they're activating Azcanta. They could find a Spell Pierce, and like I could have played around Spell Pierce. But I didn't, because I was thinking about making 2 angels and the fact that they could just double swords, because they definitely have 4 swords in their deck. Okay, they found a Ponder, which means my Entreat. Does it resolve? It does. Alright, that's sweet. They can Ponder, they'll get to Azcanta twice, which I said they wouldn't be able to do that, and then I let them do it. But it meant I got to Entreat, which is awesome. They get to ponder again. They're just digging, 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 digging. I get to turn off their fetches next turn by putting them to 1. Or they get to fetch now, and I maybe get to kill them next turn by putting them to 0. Or they play a board wipe and kill all my things. Which that's possible too. They did pitch, Supreme Verdict earlier. Oh, I'm sorry. And here it comes. Maybe. The good news is, like, if they play a board wipe here, it probably means they can't activate as Kanta, then I get to kill their Kanta. They're at 2 cards, I'm at 1 card. Okay, Council's Judgment, that's going to take out an angel. Gotta make sure I vote for the right angel. This one has a vote, so I'll give it a second vote. I've played against people who vote for something that doesn't have a vote and end up exiling 2 of their own things when they didn't need to. So definitely keep an eye out for your votes. So they did go down, they did fetch and go down to 16, but they killed one of my things, so. I'm going to do this first. And they get to activate it. And I guess they get to cast whatever spell they find, that's pretty cool. Batterskull. So they must like brainstorm that back at some point in time, because I doubt they have 2 Batterskulls in their deck. I think I'll hold the Tundra in hand. The only spell that requires I have a bunch of mana is the Entreat, and I already casted it, so I'd rather have it as brainstorm fodder. Or just to bluff something. But they're kind of in desperation mode, so they're going to cast what they have no matter what. They're not going to care about the fact that I'm bluffing because they need to cast something to live. Alright, cool. So we win the first game. It was definitely looking bad at points. Alright, so there's Stoneforges, there's creatures, there's Counter Wars to win. They have this, so I'll have this. There's also creatures, but they're not that good of creatures, that said. Still consideration. Forces, really bad. All the sweepers could be a little intense, but I think it's fine. Maybe go down one of the sweepers because I'm building in Humility. The thing is, they have equipment. Yeah, right, and that makes the, like, even though the things are 1/1s, they're 1/1s that can become really good. This can name the equipment, which is nice. This could stop the equipment from ever being equipped, but I think that's probably too deep. This is more if they were also like playing Aether Vial. And I just don't have that much space here. I could like go down the Entreat since I'm going up the Gideon, because the Gideon is just kind of a good mirror breaker. But I like Entreat's just a 1 card. It gives me an option as a win condition. Maybe trim down a Terminus. Maybe trim down the Humility. They have Judgment, so they can answer it. Two Terminuses in hand, but a Brainstorm. 2 Brainstorms even, but high potential to get Brainstorm locked, but a Swords to Plowshares. I think I'm going to keep it on the strength of I can kill a lot of things. It might be horrible. In fact, it very well could be horrible. The more I think about it, the worse this hand gets. But we got draw steps. Look, see, I said we had draw steps, and we had draw steps. Alright, so I'm just not going to play anything here no matter what they do. They ponder, so that's not of pressing importance. Yep. Alright. I'll just play the Strand. I could potentially sword something here, brainstorm and swords. And I can set up Termini, all that type of stuff. I could shuffle away my Termini. It's like the big play is being able to swords a Stoneforge Mystic. Okay, so they fetched before brainstorming, which is good. They might just have another fetch as well. They do. And they are fetching. If they play like a Stoneforge Mystic here, I'm fine with that. I get to just brainstorm and then swords it. Or just brainstorm and leave a Terminus on top. And then get value out of my Terminus that way. I think the Termini could be left in my deck for later, though. Like, Stoneforge is one of the things that eats swords really well, when the other stuff they have is like True Name, which just can't get swords. So I will let them find something before giving them more information about what might be the right pick. Batterskull is what they go with. And on their end step, I'll brainstorm. Okay, so Spyglass is really good. All this stuff's really good. The Terminus are probably the worst cards. Like, I guess one of the swords is bad as well. I think I'd rather shuffle that away, because I do have another brainstorm to put a Terminus on top if True Name comes down next turn. And I'll just get a Tundra, because I did take out the Back to Basics. Okay. Verdict is fine. Land is fine. I really want to draw the land first, I think. Not shuffle. I'm just going to play the thing about Spyglass is, like, it's really hard to know. I think I'm just going to play it on, like, Batterskull. But we get to take a look first. So they do have another Stoneforge. And that might be able to find Sword of Fire and Ice, which is really good. But they have not found it yet, so they might not have it in their deck. So I'm going to name Batterskull because at least I know they have that in their deck. They get to play a True Name, but I get to kill a True Name at some point. I might have rushed out the Spyglass too soon. Like, if they do have Sword of Fire and Ice in their deck, I'm in a dark place. They will draw a lot of cards, and I will take a lot of damage. I can keep the creatures at bay, so like I can slow it down, but yeah, I can't stop it forever. So I've got the Verdict. There's no need to rush anything. Where's the revealed cards? They played like so the Batterskull is not revealed twice. Alright, they played a Ponder. They do have a counterspell, so I can't just Windmill Slam Gideon. Yep, you could do that. That's fine. What are they finding? Will I get punished? Sort of Feast and Famine. Whew. That's something. And alright. Not gonna brainstorm. As tempting as it is, I think I do want to save that. Maybe I don't. I don't think I do. I have the Verdict. So this Flusterstorm can defend my Gideon. And I think playing Gideon with Flusterstorm backup is like pretty good. So just like shuffle these cards away, honestly. You know, playing Gideon with Flusterstorm backup, maybe. No, it's good, it's good. Yeah, it's good. I'm crazy forever thinking it's not good. Yoink. So, Counterspell's gone, Silver's gone. They have one card that I have not seen. And the other stuff is not great at taking care of a Gideon. They might have boarded all their swords out, too, which means I can, like, clock them super hard. But coming up the board doesn't seem horrible. They're going to try and probably play a True Name here to be able to take it out, and I have Supreme Verdict. Vendilion Clique would punish me. True Name does not. True Name is what I knew they had, and something I'm happy to verdict away. Alright, so they are on the all-equipment plan. Bam, 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 bam. I could crunk in for damage, but I think I grind better, so I would rather grind. Batterskull's fine. They can't bounce it, they can't re-equip it. And I can snap swords, the germ. Or I could bounce the germ even. Even better. And I know, so they have one card in hand, which could be a Spell Pierce. For that reason, I think just Snapcaster, Swords the Germ is better. And then just try and bait out a Spell Pierce with this Counterbalance. Pow, pow, pow. Boink. Boink, boink, boink. Pow. Okay. Fetching. We're pretty well in control of this game. They're just trying to thin a land out of their deck, which I think is incorrect. They should probably save that in case they find a Brainstorm. The marginal percentage of thinning a land, isn't good. So they concede. And we complete the League 2 and 3, which means we don't get any prizes, but, we had a good time. So there you go. There's how everything went. Thank you for watching if you made it this far, and I'll try and record more in the future.